Hey everyone, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create, and today we're going to get started working on the newest mini album, which is the Muse from Ciao, and I am doing a 7.5 by 7.5 mini album, and those are the outside dimensions, 7.5 by 7.5, and then we've got our pocket pages here, which are 7 by 7. So with that, I'm going to sit down and get started laying in the flaps for page 1. And as usual, I've indicated the page number and the location of the spine, so I keep my orientation going correctly, and I've done that through all the papers. There is a tutorial to build the 7.5 by 7.5 base mini album, which will be part of this playlist. But just so you know, the pocket page starts out as 7.5 by 7, and you're going to score a 1/2 inch on the 7.5 inch side, and you're going to marry those two together to make your pocket page. But again, there's a full tutorial for the base album build right in this playlist. Okay, we're going to get started with page 1, and for some reason I picked up page 8, and here it is. Here we go, page 1. So I'm going to set aside my pocket pages. We're only going to work with page 1 right now. So we've got a simple flap that goes across the top, and it is 4.5 by 7, 4.5 by 7, and you're going to score a 1/2 inch on the 4.5 inch side. And then we've got a simple pocket that goes on the bottom. It's 8 by 2.5, 8 by 2.5, and you're going to score a 1/2 inch on 3 of the 4 sides, and that's going to be your lower pocket. So it's going to fit together like so. Okay, I'm going to start by putting the pocket in. Okay, so this is going to go right on the bottom. There we go. So that's in. And then again, this is 4.5 by 7. And I'm going to, I was trying to decide if I want to attach it to the very top. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it down and split the difference between the top of the pocket and the top of the page. And so there'll be a gap at the bottom and a gap at the top. And this will be inset. I'm looking at it. It looks like, let's measure it. So the top of the pocket, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 inches here, and this is 4 inches. So I want to center it between these 2 points. So I'm going to inset it about a 1/2 inch. And again, this is the top of the page, but I'm turning it so that I can see all the edges. And you know what? I think I want to go ahead and give myself a quick reference line. So that's about a 1/2 inch. On one side and then a 1/2 inch on the other. There we go. My lead wasn't staying out. Okay, so just so I get it in straight. Okay, and now I'm looking, I've got one corner down, and I'm going to pivot it until I've got a smooth edge here, and then I'll lay it down all the way across. There we go. So that is page 1, like so. And that looks good. I've got a little bit of an overhang here, so I'm going to trim that off very quickly. Maybe. I got some gunk on my scissors. There we go. It's just the top corner. It's not, yeah, it wasn't coming all the way down. It was just that one little edge there. Let me trim that off. There we go. So there's page 1. Hey everyone, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create, and today we're going to continue working on the Muse, which is Ciao new collection, or one of their new collections. And we've already constructed page 1, so we've got our upper flap and then a pocket here. And I'm going to set, this is going to wind up being my cover. Set that aside and pull in page 1. So each one, this is offset a 1/2 inch from the top, and then that leaves a 1/2 inch gap here. So I've trimmed out 2 coordinating strips that are going to go on either side. I've got this trimmed out for the pocket. And this is going to be the main page. So I'm going to go ahead and sit down. I may have to do a little tweaking on the trimming as we go, but I think most of it's done. All right, let's start by getting the pocket in. Oh, I hate it when I do that. I like both sides. Let me see what the inside liner is going to look like. You know what? I changed my mind. I'm going to put this piece down, then I'm going to add my trim pieces. And then once that's laid in, then I can make a decision on which side I want to use here. This is one of the A4 sheets, and you can tell because of all the cut aparts on the back side. And I'm just going to put something under here for a little bit of contrast so I can see the edge. Didn't get that in straight, so I'm just adjusting it slightly. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so that's in. And then I've trimmed this 1/2 inch piece out to go down here. And then this is just under a 1/2 inch, and it's going to go right here on top. That's 3/8, and that's a 1/2 inch. And I did that on purpose because this is going to slide slightly inside the pocket. So those are the 2 options. And I'm going to have to think about it for a minute. Very dry day here in San Diego. Almost like Santa Ana, which is, it's a little late in the season for that, but I can tell because my glue is drying so fast. Okay. I got a little company in here. Nala came to see me. She's digging through my papers. Okay, now this is going to go actually on the pocket page, slightly underneath the this 2-inch pocket here. And that's just so things don't catch going in and out of the pocket. So I just want it to barely go inside. There we go. Perfect. And then I've trimmed this out to go inside. And that's what it's going to look like when it's all put together. So this still needs to be trimmed down a little bit too. Actually, no, I had it trimmed out this way. Okay, well, let's focus on getting the top piece in. And let's decide. So this is page 1. And then this, I'm going to pull in the inside cover. So page 1 is going to face this page. So let's make a decision about what we like, how we want that spread to look. So that's one option. And that is the other option. And I like both. I think I'm going to go this direction. I had originally planned this to be up, but that was before I planned the inside cover. And now I'm liking this better. What are you looking? What are you sniffing around for, Nola? Huh? Yes, I know. Tell me all about it. Okay, and if you recall, when we were putting the flaps in, I had mentioned that we're going to use some sort of a tag or something in this pocket to hold it closed. So there's no magnet on here, and that's by design. But of course, if you want to do a magnet and hold it as well as something in the pocket, now's the time to make that placement. Okay. And I forgot to ink this edge. So let's do that real quick. Yes, I know. I love you too. No barking, please. Oh, Nola, that's enough now. Okay, so, oops, that's upside down. I can see the words now. That was upside down. It looks like I put this strip in crooked. So rather than try to leave a gap like so, which is what I usually do, I think I am going to plan to cover the whole thing. Because if I overlay it, then I can straighten this out. That is one option. The other option is wow, that is quite crooked. I don't know how I got that so far off, but I did. I did. Okay, so we're gonna put this, I think, up here. Yeah, it's trimmed out and ready to go. Let's do that. No. Which side did I want? A or B? This is the side. Usually I can tell because there's a little more ink on the side that I was planning to have face up. Not a lot, but a little more. I was trimming all my papers out last night and getting everything ready so I could tape during the daylight. But we had some car trouble, so we were running back and forth trying to get that solved last night, so I kept getting distracted. So my memory's not very good of what my plan was. There we go. right, that's in. Okay, now I'm trying to decide what I want to do right here. And I actually think I'm going to change my direction. This went in so crooked, I'm really unhappy with it. So rather, I'm going to try to straighten that out by where I place the paper that goes on top. There we go. So I know this needs to go in at this angle so I can visually straighten that out. All right, so I'm going to need a minute to trim this out. I'm double checking to see if there's some paper that I prefer over this one, and I don't think so. My lead keeps going back in. Oh, I'm not happy with this, so I'm actually going to consider trying to pull this up. Yeah, I think I'm going to take this off, and then this is going to slip slightly below. This just didn't work out right. So I have to be careful not to take too much of the pocket with it. There we go. So the way I'm tearing it off is to make sure that any of the tearing is actually happening on the paper I'm pulling away from the black and not the black itself. Not always an easy thing to do, but it can be done. And that's why these spatulas come in so handy. So what would I do differently here? So to do this again, what I should have done is put a reference line across the top here so that I would know how far to pull this half-inch piece of paper back out. And I didn't do that, and I should have, and that would have solved the whole problem. So just FYI, as you're planning, you might want to do that. I am going to cut out another piece to lay down after I pull most of this up. And the reason I want to do that is because I really do want these two pieces to match. They don't have to, but that's the design aesthetic I was going for. Okay. All right. And you don't have to get it all up. You just have to get up enough that you can, whatever your new strip is, will go over any of the scraps that are left behind. And so one of the ways that I'm going to make sure that happens is I'm going to make sure this strip is more than a ½ inch wide. And it's okay, it doesn't really matter because a ½ inch is all that's going to be exposed when it's closed. And like I said, I just want to get up enough that it'll be covered, but also that it's not bumpy. When I glue something back down over it. Okay, I think that's about all I'm gonna do. Now that'll come off. This one you want to be careful not to tear toward the outside because it might pick up more of the black that'll be exposed even when you put your new piece down. So you want to tear it back toward the center or lift it toward the center. There you go. That was quite a mess. Sorry about that, guys. That really slowed page 1 down. Let's get another strip cut. Let's make sure this is the right width, and it is. All right. So let's do this. We're going to want to put a reference line here. So I'm going to use this handy dandy ruler. And I know I wanted a half inch up from the pocket here. And this will just help me put it in straight. Okay, so now you can see I put a little reference line in there, so when I put the new piece in, it should lay right on top of that. Let me double check, huh? So 3/4 of an inch. Well, hello. What did you get? Oh, did you get a piece of paper? Did you get a piece of paper? Here's my new piece. Okay, that looks good. Let's get some ink on it and lay it down. And then I'm going to take a break and go get some lunch with my family. And then I'll be back to continue working on the rest of the album. Okay. Just a minute. All right, let's see how we do. Well, it can't be any worse, right, guys? Should be considerably better. All right, so now we need to still trim out a piece that's going to fit right here. And we will do that when I get back. Or do I already have a piece I can use? Let me see. I can probably use this. Okay, I'm going to use this one. So that's a little into the hinge, so I just need to take a smidge off. try that one more time. Okay, we're out of the hinge. Let's ink it and get it down. Page 1 will be done. Nola's got a piece of paper and she's picking it up and throwing it around and playing with it. It's quite entertaining. You know what? I think I had that in upside down. It doesn't fit exactly square, so orientation matters. Nope, I had it right. I have a little tag hanging off here, so I'm going to trim that real quick. These scissors aren't very sharp. There we go. Okay, so that is the end of page 1, and this is I'll probably put something else in the pocket, but for now I'm going to add these 2 items just to keep it closed while we're working on the other side. Okay, when I come back, we'll work on page 2. Okay, so now on to page 2. Page 2, we have a left and right flap. So it's actually going to go like this. And I think I'm going to center these. And these, so the first flap, which is the left flap, although I wrote it in here upside down, is 7.5 by 4. 7.5 by 4. You're going to score a 1/2 inch on the 7.5 inch side. And this one is 5.5 by 4. And you're going to score a 1/2 inch on the 5.5 inch side. There we go. And I'm just trying to think about how I want these to lay on the page. And this is what I'm going to do. So I am going to center the 5.5 onto the 7.5 panel, and then I'll apply the whole thing to the page. Okay, so let's see. Seven. Okay, there we go. So we've got it opens that way and then this way. Opens to the right, and then the whole thing opens again to the left. Okay. And I'm applying this right to the edge, and it's centered. Okay, there we go. Lovely, lovely. So there's page 2. This way, and then this way. And before I move on, I just realized, so on this one, we're not going to use a magnet. We are going to place something in the pocket to hold it closed. So we're okay there. But on this side, we are going to use a magnet to keep it closed. So I'm going to get a couple of magnets ready, and I am going to apply my magnet just to the edge of the large flap. Okay, so that's good. And that is page 2. There we go, page 2 is done. Hey everyone, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create, and we're going to continue working on the Muse from Ciao, and we're on page 2 now. So I've got my papers trimmed out. So this is what's going to go on the pocket page. This is the main feature. So on the bottom layer, we're going to add that. And then I've got some pieces trimmed out for all the flaps. So when I originally put the flaps in, I added a magnet on this side to hold it shut, and I forgot to add one on this side. So you guys will need to go ahead and add a magnet on the second flap, the top flap, to hold it all in place, because this will continue to move around on you if you don't, or add a ribbon or something to keep it closed. All right, so with that, I am going to do a little bit of dry fitting, and then we're going to get this laid into place. And that looks just right. So let me sit down. I'm going to get my glue and my pick tool to get the tape off the magnet. There we go. There we go. We'll burnish that into place real quick. And that's our bottom layer. This is really pretty paper. It's probably one of my favorite in the patterns. Okay, and then on the top flap I've trimmed out this thin sliver that's going to go on this side, and then underneath we're going to add this, so you're going to get that framed out look, which I like so much. And I will tell you, what is this? 7/8 of an inch, so it's just under an inch. And you might need to test it, because it really depends on where you placed that top flap. But basically it's just under an inch. My dog just brought me a present, and now she's talking to me. What is it, sweetheart? Did you want to tell me something? Okay, let's see. What did you bring me? Oh, that's very nice, but it's for you. You can have it. Okay. She brings me toys and then drops them at my feet. I think it's a hint. All right, let's double check the fit. Make sure I'm out of the hinge. It looks good. Yeah. Okay. So again, don't forget to add the second set of magnets on the very uppermost or top flap. Okay, that looks good. And this is what I think I have planned here. And then we have, this goes here, and I didn't ink it, so I'm going to do that. There we go. Had a little too much glue on there. Okay, that looks good. And now we're back over to the front side. I'm going to pick the one I like the best, or that fits the best. All right, that's that. Okay, and so the last part, I just felt a little glue on there. Okay, so the last section, or the last piece I need to add is this very top piece, and I want to look at page 3 to try to remember. Okay, these are an up and down flap. The flaps are going to go like this. So I'm trying to decide what I want this to be based on page 3. If I want it to be this or this. And then I'm planning on adding this embellishment to the top of page 3. And I think I like this the best. It's a little more subtle, so that's what we're going to go with. Okay, so that is the end of page 2. Goes that way and that goes that way. We have this nice big space. And I'll add some embellishments later. And like I said, I'm planning to do this here, but I'm not going to do it right now because I'm more than likely going to mat it. So I'll come back and add this feature later. Yeah. Okay, so that's the end of page 2.